It's time. Time to get inspired and empowered. To realize it's never too late to create your next amazing story. Get ready to break through, transform, and start living the life of your dreams. So, are you ready? Truly ready to begin your journey to create your next amazing story in life and love? Great. Let's jump in with your host, Life and Love Transformational Coach, Suzanne Oshima.
Welcome to the It's Never Too Late show. I'm Marjorie Fiore, and I'll be your guest host for today's show. We're turning the tables a little bit today, and I'll actually be interviewing Suzanne Oshima. Suzanne's a life and love transformational coach at Your Next Amazing Story. And today, we're going to talk about an important topic, so listen in. We're going to be discussing the real reasons why men disappear without a trace. It's not all you. But before we do that, Suzanne, I'd love for you to share with the audience who you serve and why.
Sure. So I help single women in midlife transform midlife to their best life and find love again in their next chapter. And it's something I'm so passionate about because I truly want single women in midlife to realize that it's never too late. It's never too late to find love again in their next chapter.
Oh, gosh, such an important reminder. But this is a good topic because, it can take a long time, especially when we're a little bit older and we're maybe doing this for the second time. We're trying to meet somebody later in life, but it can take a long time to just meet one great man. So when we finally do, we're like, oh, this relief washes over us and we're like, this was worth the wait. And I just feel so grateful now. But, months go by and you feel like it's progressing like it should. And then the unthinkable happens. He disappears without a trace. And it's the worst feeling. So what are some real reasons why this happens?
Oh my goodness, Marjorie, it's such a great question. And let me first say that I totally get it. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it is because women get so upset when men disappear without a trace, because when we don't understand something logically, then all these question marks are in our head. We become upset and we think of every worst case scenario. We start telling ourselves a story. But I'm going to tell you the 3 top reasons of why men disappear without a trace. Obviously, there's millions, but I'm going to tell you the top 3 that I see. And the number 1 reason I see why men disappear without a trace is because the obvious is he's not looking for a serious relationship. And so sometimes when that happens, a woman gets really upset and is like, oh God, it must be something I said or did. But sometimes, if he's not ready for a serious relationship, wouldn't you rather find out now than 6 months, a year down the road, he goes, yeah, I'm not looking for anything serious. And then your heart's completely broken because you're really emotionally invested.
I just wrote that down when you said that. Before you said, wouldn't you rather, I put, you got it. I mean, not in the moment, but you're definitely going to respect him later because, again, and maybe I know I have, dated somebody and it's kind of like, it's better than being alone. And then you realize this isn't going to go anywhere. And you just got to and it's unfair to them to keep kind of dragging them along when there's nothing that's going to be long-term about it. So you got to respect them. And maybe that's what happened to the man. He got so caught up with it and he's like, wait a minute, I'm not in love with this person. I don't really see a future. And they just, it's not the best way, but they just kind of disappear.
Yeah. I mean, let's just say that we're not condoning that men disappear because A real man should obviously step up to the plate and just say, I'm not looking for something serious. Right. But I think it's more important for women to realize, like you said, it's not always something they said or did. Sometimes it's his own issues and they have nothing to do with it. I'm just something ran through my head do you watch Sex and the City?
I did, yeah, a long time ago.
Do you remember that episode when Miranda had this happen and a man disappeared and she was so annoyed and then she told her girlfriend, she said, I just tell myself he died. He died. because then it made her feel better. So, ladies, you can tell yourself whatever story you want to tell yourself, but make yourself feel better, not worse. Right. All right. So the second reason that I see that a lot of men disappear without a trace is they're not emotionally available. So if you're getting to know him deeper and you're going into more vulnerable conversations and you find this wall up and he's not ready to go there, he may not be emotionally available and it may not have anything to do with you. And so when he feels like it's going deeper, he's like, oh, that's a little too much for me. And then he jumps ship, right? Without a trace.
Right.
So
and you had the first one was that he's just not looking for a serious relationship.
Right.
And the second one, he's not emotionally available. What's number 3?
Okay, so I have to preface this, ladies, with I need to tell you what you probably don't want to hear, is that he realizes that you may not be the one for him, so he doesn't want to waste any more time. And I know that's hurtful. Trust me, I know that is. We've all had that happen. But just remember is that if a man disappears without a trace and can't be a man and tell you, hey, Susie, I think you're great, but I just don't feel like this is going anywhere, then is that truly the type of man that you could see yourself with? Right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Let the door, don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out. But yeah, it's really to think about a man's character that disappears without a trace. It could be any one of these reasons, but be glad that you found out this is the type of man he is before it went on too long, and where, like I said, you get more emotionally invested and then your heart gets really broken.
Right. But, sometimes you don't really, well, almost never, the situation, but if a man does disappear, I mean, should you at least reach out to him? Like try to say, hey, are you okay? Or anything like that, or just let it go?
I would say it depends. And here's why it depends. It really depends on the situation. If you felt maybe there was a miscommunication, like maybe you said something that you thought maybe he mistook for blowing him off, is I always say you can do one reach out, one ping, one text, whatever it is. Don't do multiple, because then that's becoming desperate. Look, if he's still interested, he'll respond. If he's not interested, you will not hear anything. But again, I feel like the general rule of thumb is no. But if you feel like it's a special situation where maybe something was misconstrued in a conversation and he maybe took what you said or did as that you weren't interested, maybe give it one more try, but that's it.
Well, and also I think to be a little, to protect your own self, it's like, okay, I didn't just leave that open-ended. Like I maybe he wants me to respond to see if I really care about him. So you're right. Just do it once. And then you can say, look, I did what I could do and I reached out, and I should have comfort in that. But I think when anything like this happens, regardless of the situation, it's always going to be, our initial feeling is going to be any old insecurities, any old heartbreak, any old like, oh, I know what is happening. That kind of all comes to surface, which makes it such an emotional situation. But I think you're right. If you just take a deep breath and step back and think about these top 3 reasons, then you probably can have it fall into one of those categories.
Well, and you bring up a really great point, Marjorie, is when this happens, it usually triggers a couple of things for women. Is it can trigger abandonment or the rejection. Right? Which are 2 obviously very triggering things.
Yes.
And so it can be very, it's not just about this one man that disappeared without a trace. All these old wounds open up, right? And so it's important to not completely shut down and go, okay, that's it. I'm never dating again. I'm never going to find love again. It's to keep it moving, right? Keep moving forward. But that's also why I always talk about why you should date multiple men until you're in an exclusive relationship, because when one does disappear, is you're not so focused on that one if you're dating several men. It doesn't have to be 100. I'm talking about 2 to 3 men.
Mm-hmm. Right. You don't feel like you've invested all this time, all this energy, all this attention into one thing that's all of a sudden not there anymore. You're like, oh, that was a huge waste of time and he wasn't into me and all those things that come in. But, if something changes and he comes back, how do you not second guess yourself? I mean, should you give him a second chance?
It depends again. And here's why. If he comes back and he says, you know what, Marjorie, I'm so sorry. The reason why I disappeared for that length of time is because my father was really ill and things were crazy at work. And I just couldn't even wrap my head around, seeing you and doing all this. And I know it was wrong, that I should have let you know, but I was just so overwhelmed with everything that was going on. And I hope that we can see each other again. I mean, Marjorie, would you give him a second chance?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Or
absolutely.
If the guy, I'll give another scenario. Say the guy disappeared for several months and Marjorie, I'm the guy, and I text you and I just say, hey, what's up? Want to get together this week?
Say, who's this? I'm sorry, who is this? And then I sent a picture of me on vacation with my boyfriend. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, but that's a good one. Is like, who is this? What?
Right.
I don't even know who this is. So,
right.
But it really depends. And, but this is what I would say. If you do give him a second chance, right, and you start seeing him again, if he does it one more time, cut your losses.
Yeah. I mean, these principles, it's kind of cool when you're older because we typically are a little bit more confident. We have dated and fallen in love and had our heart broken in the past. And so we can, like you said, and I figured that would be your response. Like it is situational. Only you know your relationship with this person and give them the benefit of the doubt or not. If you had red flags going up the whole time and there's lots of, and then you'll start to think of, oh yeah, and this really never happened. And I really kind of was always disappointed about that. And, don't discard those like we probably would in our 20s. We have a lot more leeway. It's like you can be more picky when you're older. You can have more standards and boundaries. And even if he has a great excuse and you're like, yeah, I just don't want to go through that again. I mean, it's cool to be comfortable in your own skin and not feel desperate and not text. And because that's what it ends up being. And then you do appear desperate. Nobody wants that. Exactly. So I think it's kind of like these are great principles as reminders because it never goes away. We're older and wiser, but our heart still is fragile. And, we need reminders like this. But this was really eye-opening and amazing. But I know that people are going to want more. So I want to tell them about your free online masterclass. It's called The Secrets to Meet a Quality Man. And I know you go into way more details. This is just like a little teaser snippet of probably one of the categories. But can you tell us a little bit more about it and how people can get registered?
Sure. So in this live masterclass, I will share with you the number one way to meet a quality man. And I will also share with you the real reason why you're not meeting quality men online. And ladies, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking it's the site. It's not the site. Trust me. You can meet quality men online, but if it's not working for you, there's something off. And I'm going to tell you what that is. And I'm also going to tell you the secret formula on how to turn it around and start meeting and attracting quality men within your age range online. Because trust me, it does work. I have several clients that thought the same thing you did, and they turned it around and they're in relationships. They've gotten married. So you can meet quality men online.
Wow, it sounds like an amazing masterclass. So go get registered. Okay, yes. That's it for today, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on the It's Never Too Late show. The show is available in both video and podcast format and can be found at yournextamazingstory.com. Take care.
Love today's episode of the It's Never Too Late show? Then head on over to yournextamazingstory.com to continue the conversation, get access to show notes, and get more amazing content.